अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तिनको स्वरूप जानी राग ते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहत है। ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So today we are going to start Vitrag Vigyan part 2. I'll make a co-host. Okay. So now you are co-host Urja. You can share the screen for Vitrag Vigyan part 2, chapter 3, errors regarding 7 fundamentals. So we had a detailed discussion about 7 fundamentals. Almost 4 hours we had a discussion, and there were few things that were not part of the chapter, but we also discussed about that. So out of which all the most important is among the 7 fundamentals, what is worth knowing, what is worth renouncing, and what is worth adapting or taking shelter in or manifesting. So who will tell me all the correct? Madhuji, you only tell. Who else is there? Shefali, you can try.
Sorry, sir.
Hmm? Himali,
Yes, sir.
you can try. Among
Sir,
7 fundamentals, what is worth knowing, what is worth renouncing, and what is worth adapting or taking shelter in or manifest?
yes, yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So, all of the 7 fundamentals are absolutely worth knowing.
Okay.
Uh, when it comes to, um, uh, taking shelter in,
Hmm.
so it is our
Soul. Jiv.
Atma. Yes, GU, yes, sir.
Hmm.
Um, so and all the others are worth um
Renouncing.
yes, sir, like Nirjara and no, sorry, I forgot.
So that's why I asked because that was very important. We had a very
I know, sir.
detailed
So I
discussion.
was on the plane actually. I was traveling and I couldn't attend the class. Even today, I'm not in the house.
Oh,
My office has sent me somewhere. I'm just attending because I
okay, okay.
have some.
Good that you are still trying to attend the classes. But anyway, you catch up on recording and understand
I
it.
will, sir. I will as soon as I'm back
So
home.
that's why I was asking who has the right answer with him. So I will not waste time. Malteji, you can try. Shefali ji, Leena ji, I think was absent. Urja was absent. And still, if you have catch up on recording, then you can always try. I'm giving an open offer who will give me a correct answer. Ah, Roshni ji, you were always there, right?
I missed the lesson where you covered this, but I was there last week where you recapped. So
Ah,
I can try and answer. So
yeah,
the first fundamental jeev is worth taking shelter in.
very good.
And then there is a jeev, which is anything outside of jeev. So it's worth I don't remember the word. Can I go on to the next one?
Okay.
Ajiv is worth knowing only.
Worth knowing, that's right. And then Ashrav and Bandh, those are worth renouncing. Samvar and Nirjara, they are worth accepting. And of course, moksha is worth accepting.
Ambar and Nirjara is worth partially manifesting.
Yes.
Yes,
Moksha is worth completely manifesting.
manifesting.
Right. So more or less
So-
you got it correct. But the first part is that all the 7 are worth knowing.
No, definitely.
So this is Himari here. So may I
next-
ask?
Ha. Tell me.
So I'm still not understanding Ajeev. So you remember you gave that boat example. I had started writing the pages that we had to write before I left from home.
Mhm.
And so the boat example that you had given,
Mhm.
I was trying, I was discussing this with my sister, and we were just thinking that Jeev is your soul and Ajeev is the body because it's the form of transportation for the soul.
Right.
Just like for that man who was in the boat was its mode of transportation.
Right.
So sir, if you isn't it worth renouncing your body? Ajeev also isn't worth renouncing.
So let the body be there. It is not inflicting any pain on us here. It is
Okay,
something which is different from us, right? Soul,
correct.
soul is a conscious substance. It can know, but body is not something that can know anything. It is only a matter substance. Okay. Soul,
Hmm.
a living being, life substance, and matter is sorry. Body is a matter substance. Okay. So they are
Okay.
entirely two different substances. There is no relation in between them. Okay.
Okay.
No relation, but they are at the same place. So they are in the same space point. So where the body is there, the soul is also there, but
Yes. Sir.
not a single quality of soul has gone into body, and not a single atom of that body has entered soul. They are completely different things, right? Now, supposing you hold a mobile in your hand, right?
Yes.
So that mobile is different. It may be in your hand, but mobile is different from your body. Similarly, the body is different from the soul. Okay. So when a person dies, the body remains here, but the soul goes away. It takes up another body.
Correct.
So in that example of boat, the the person who is sailing the boat is the jeev, and the boat is ajeev. The water coming in through that hole is influx and bondage. And
Yes.
when you put something on that hole to block the
Yes.
water coming in, is
Stoppage of-
stoppage of influx. And
Yes.
then whatever water that has already accumulated, that you pump out, by
Yes. That's
taking a
very
bucket
true.
and a mug, you gradually put it in the bucket, and then you throw that bucket outside, not the bucket, but the water outside, into that river. Okay. So it is called dissociation of bondage. And when you completely wipe out the water, then it is a liberation, moksha.
Hmm.
Okay. So it is nice that you discussed with your sister and you had some thoughts on that. And that is the way we learn, We
Yes.
only read and then we forget. It's not like that. You have to apply it in your life. Now, why I asked you these three things, what is worth knowing, what is worth renouncing, what is worth adapting. The only purpose is that unless and until you come to a conclusion after reading, then it does not help us in any way, no? So you have to conclude whatever we read, we have to come as the conclusion. What are the takeaways, So by knowing the 7 fundamentals correctly, you can manifest right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. And that is the beginning of your path of liberation. That is the time where, you experience eternal bliss. And that is the time, in the true sense, you identify as yourself as a soul. Okay. So from time immortal, we have identified ourselves either in the body or the passions that we manifest or some other associated things that we consider as our own, But never we have taken up as soul as our own. I am the soul and I'm not incomplete. I am complete soul, you know. So that was the problem. Anyway, we catch up on this chapter, errors in understanding the 7 fundamentals. And I have given you concept clarity 1 on that chapter only, 7 fundamentals. So anyway, you have to go deep into this 7 fundamentals. So I would recommend that you again go through the lectures. I think it is almost 4 hours that we discuss 7 fundamentals. That is very important. The most important of all the scriptures that we have in Jainism, because by knowing the 7 fundamentals, you are able to manifest right belief. And that is our primary purpose for getting into this kind of education. Okay. So all wants to be happy. But if you don't know the path of happiness, then how you can be happy? So by knowing the 7 fundamentals, it is the first step in the path of happiness. Happiness begins only when you have a correct understanding of 7 fundamentals. Now, to have a correct understanding, there are some errors that people make about the 7 fundamentals. Okay. जीव को अजीब जानता है, अजीब को जीव जानता है, So body is ajeev, but people believe that I am the body. I am good looking. I can speak very smartly. I am a good orator. So all these belief that we have from time immortal, and that is where the error is. Okay. Just now I said that soul and body are 2 different identities. One is a conscious substance and the other one is a matter substance. So how can then be a relation when 2 substances are completely different? Okay. Because they both are at the same place, people believe that body is his own. But as I gave an example that when a person dies, the body remains here and the soul goes away. The eyes, the nose, ear, mouth, everything is there as it is. But none can function. Why? Because the powerhouse that was soul, that has gone away. Okay. And this is a dead body right now. Not when the person dies and soul goes away. Still now we are under this body, and this body for us is a dead body right now. Because it doesn't know. It does not have the quality of knowledge. Okay. So it is a dead body right now also. So by knowing the actual nature of soul, non-soul elements, and the other five, influx, bondage, stoppage of influx, dissociation of bondage, and liberation. By knowing these seven fundamentals and the correct nature and understanding of the seven fundamentals leads to right belief. And that is where our journey of path of liberation begins. And that is the time that we experience eternal bliss. Okay. And we become happy. So this chapter is very important. I would recommend that you study very seriously and then only you write the concept clarity paper 1 that you are supposed to write from 1 page to 6 page is the maximum limit. But I've given you one chapter only, and that is 7 fundamentals. You can add this one also, errors of 7 fundamentals along with that. There is no problem. Okay. Because it is because of the errors only, we are not able to identify the soul. So if the errors are removed, you have a clear-cut understanding of all the 7 elements, and then you can manifest right belief. So Urja, you have joined from laptop also and cell phone also?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So Jia, you have just joined in, and I want to ask you that among the 7 fundamentals, what is worth knowing, what is worth renouncing, what is worth manifesting or taking shelter in?
Yeah, so all seven are worth knowing.
Oh,
Then Ashrav is influx is worth renouncing. Bondage is also worth renouncing. Stoppage of influx is worth partially manifesting.
very
Uh,
good.
and dissociation of bondage is also worth partially manifesting. And liberation is worth complete manifesting.
And what about soul and non-soul?
Uh, soul and non-soul are soul is worth uh I they're both worth knowing. I don't remember
Hmm.
the non-soul.
So a marriage
Soul
is,
is worth complete manifesting. No, worth taking shelter in.
yes, now you have got the correct answer. Soul is worth taking shelter in. In fact, it is the only thing that we should take shelter in. Okay. Now, what is non-soul?
Uh, just worth knowing.
It is only worth knowing. There is nothing as renouncing, and there is nothing as uh, adapting or manifesting or taking shelter in. Okay. It is only worth knowing. So now the picture is complete. A very good try. And I'm happy that you have almost picked up. And again, you should revise. And when you write concept clarity, uh, you should again revise and write it very clearly. Okay. So you can make a few charts uh, on your own among the 7 fundamentals to make it more easy, like soul and non-soul. And then from soul, you have 5 psychic part, and from the non-soul, you have the material part of influx, bondage, stoppage of influx, dissociation of bondage, and liberation. So this way you can make a chart. You have to write the about 7 fundamentals, the definition of each, and then you can write what is worth knowing, what is worth renouncing what is worth adapting, and then you can write these errors that we are going to start now.
Okay.
Okay.
So how long does it have to be, the concept clarity, like in terms of pages? How
Pages,
long?
one
One
page
page.
to 6 page.
Okay.
Minimum 1 page, maximum 6 pages, full script pages, and then half page myth buster. That is very compulsory. Myth buster, I want everyone to write myth buster. Why? What do you write in myth buster? Do you have any idea, Gia?
Not sure.
Pardon?
I'm not sure.
You are not sure. Okay. So in myth buster, we write example from our day-to-day life, that what were your belief before, and after reading this chapter, what changes that you came across. Okay. So our previous belief and our present understanding, what is the difference? And that you can relate. That earlier I used to think that when I go to the temple, I'm doing religion, I'm doing dharma. And now by studying the 7 fundamentals, I understood that that is not dharma, that is an influx. That is only an auspicious sentiment. And this auspicious sentiments binds auspicious karma. And this auspicious karma is a part of influx and bondage. Okay. So that way you have to write some practical examples from your day-to-day life, that what were your earlier belief and what changes has been made in your belief system. Clear? Everyone clear? Myth buster is very important. Even if you write 1 page on 7 fundamentals, still you have to write half page on myth buster. Okay. So it could be less than half page also, but you have to write. That's all. So now we move on to the second Vitrag Vigyan part 2. Okay. And chapter number 3, because we have just understood 7 fundamentals. So continuing with that, we are first studying about the errors in understanding the 7 fundamentals. Okay. So where does a seeker makes errors, and because of that error, he is not able to understand the correct nature of the 7 fundamentals, and because of that, the right belief does not manifest. Okay. So our all efforts comes to zero if there remains a single error. You know 6 fundamentals very clearly, but one fundamentals you are not sure, then also it doesn't work. These 7 are purposeful elements. You cannot leave any one out of it. So 7 only you have to have clear-cut understanding. Okay. So this lesson is adapted from Chaidala, and Chaidala is a famous book written by Pandit Daulat Ramji. When you are into the third sem, we will be studying about this Chaidala. It's a complete book in our syllabus, and it's a very, very interesting work done by Pandit Daulat Ramji. So Pandit Daulat Ramji was born in 1798, okay, and he left this world in 1866 AD. AD means common era. Now they call it common era, but when we were studying, it was AD and BC. BC is before Christ, and AD is after the death. So BC and AD, but now it is only common era. Okay. So I'll just read the introduction. Deeply immersed in the knowledge of the soul, Pandit Daulat Ramji was a jewel of the Palliwal Jain community. So he belonged to the Palliwal Jain community. He was born in village Sasni near Aligarh. So if you go to Aligarh, We have a very famous Mangalayatan University over there, and just beside that, there is a temple where Pandit Daulat Ramji used to give his lecture, and that temple is still there. It's a very old temple. You can just imagine that Pandit Daulat Ramji was 1800, 1900, and 2000. So it is almost 220 years, 200 years ago, he wrote this Chaidala there in 1834, 11th May 1834 Common Era. So it is almost 190 years ago. Still the temple is there. So if you go to Sasni near Aligarh, you must visit this temple. And like Daulat Ramji lived there, and there is also a temple named after him. He also lived in Aligarh afterwards. Okay, so he was born in Sasni and he lived there only. His father's name was Todarmalji. So this Todarmalji is different from what we know of Todarmalji of Moksh Marg Prakashak. Away from self-applause, they never thought of having fame, name, anything like that. The full life story of this great poet is not available. They don't write anything about their personal life. Their work is only their introduction. He was an ordinary householder, simple in nature and engaged in search of the soul. His Chadala, very much talked about and respected, is a jewel of his work. There is hardly any Jain who does not study this work. It has been prescribed in the courses of all Jain examination boards. He wrote this in Samvat 1891. So this is Samvat. So out of this Samvat, you have to deduct 57 years. Then you come to the Common Era. So whenever there is a date mentioned in Samvat, you should subtract 57 from 8 to get to the Common Era date. So 1891 minus 57 is 1834. He has successfully tried to fill the ocean in a small pot. What do you mean by he has successfully tried to fill the ocean? Filling of the ocean in a small pot. What do you mean by that? Any answers?
The whole of Jainism, sir.
Pardon?
The whole of Jainism.
Yes. Anything
It's
else?
that Sagar mein Sagar. Basically, to take all the knowledge and fill it into one
Yes,
one
yes.
verse.
Yeah. So Hedala is such a scripture that everything is included in that. So that's why everyone must study. And of course, we have that completely in our syllabus. And we are going to study in the third sem. Okay. Apart from this, he composed many prayers and spiritual verses which are recited after the religious discourse in all the Jain temples in India. His devotional verses are full of deep thoughts of the self, very spiritual. His poems, besides being spiritual, are full of poetical qualities of a high order. Language is simple, comprehensible, and spontaneous. So in Hindi, it was written Saral. So for that, they standard it Saral into simple. Okay, language is simple, comprehensible, and spontaneous. In
सर छेड़ा सरल तो नहीं है
हाँ
छेड़ा सरल तो नहीं है सर
नहीं सर,
बहुत बहुत एक्सपीरियंस
अपन
चाहिए होता है उसमें
ये ना आपको सरल कर देंगे हम कुछ भी any nothing in Jainism is difficult. It appears to be difficult, but when you go deep into it, it's all very simple. I would say it is simpler than what you study in, for your career. The MBA, the engineering, the CA, and doctory, what not. There are many branches of education, and this education is the simplest of all because you are trying to understand your nature. So how can you be far from your nature, you know? So this is the easiest one. And the scriptures, okay, the scriptures depicts that only. What is the nature of soul? So they cannot be hard. Only thing is that you need to interpret it correctly. Uh, his verses can be compared with the works of any great master of Hindi lyric poetry. The present portion has been taken from his famous work Chaidala. So Chaidala has 6 chapters, okay, or 6 adhikar, and this is from the each adhikar is called dhal. Dhal, you know what is dhal? Dhal means in earlier days they used to fight with bow and arrow. To protect yourself from that attack of arrow, people used to keep dhal along with them. So they used to block that arrow coming into their body through this dhal. This dhal was used to made of heavy metal things, you know. So the arrow cannot
Yes.
cross or go through that dhal, you know. It reflects back after uh, so dhal. So there are 6 dhal. So they write this as dhal, and each dhal protects you from something or the other. So this is taken from the second dhal and verse number 2 to 7. Okay. So Daulat Ramji wrote this Chaidala, and apart from that Chaidala, he has written Daulat Vilas. And in Daulat Vilas, there are around 150 uh, mm, devotional verses. And in those devotional verses also, he has depicted how to take shelter of soul. So those are also very good. Now we'll begin the chapter. Errors in understanding the 7 fundamentals. Okay. So you can ask, okay, if we correctly understand the 7 fundamentals, why the errors will come? So the answer is that to correctly understand the 7 fundamentals, very few are able to, capture the essence of each fundamentals. So in that sense, it is a bit difficult. But if you understand it properly, then errors will not happen. That is true. Okay. So common mistakes that general mundane existence makes is what are depicted here, but not necessarily everyone would have this kind of error. Okay, you may not have the error. Just if you have this kind of error, you correct it. That's all. So it is not something very difficult, but by and large, people don't get very deep into this as we are getting deep into this 7 fundamentals here, So in the community that we have, where the Vidwans come in and teach you during Das Lakshan Dharma or Ashtanika or some other time, generally the lectures are very done at a very, gross level. We go very deep, and Practical Jainism is our website's name, and we try to apply each and every principle into our day-to-day life, and we want to know how it helps in our day-to-day life. Okay, so that way we have a deeper understanding, And because of that deep understanding, errors are not likely to remain. But still, we will study about these errors one time here, then in Tattva Gyan part 1, and then again, of course, in Chaidala where this is adapted. And then there are 2 types of errors among 7 fundamentals in Moksha Marg Prakashak. So we are going to read all this, and there is again about 7 fundamentals we will study in Dravya Sangra also, and then of course in Moksha Marg Prakashak in very detail. So this is one of the very important topics. Whatever time, effort, energy, if you put into understand this, you only will be benefited, and you will enjoy very absorbing and peaceful life, full of happiness. That is what we are capable of. And so we should unleash our potential and make the maximum what we can do. So, Himali, you read it. Errors in understanding 7 fundamentals.
Okay, sir. Errors in understanding the 7 fundamentals. Right faith cannot be accomplished without understanding the 7 fundamentals in their right perspective. People have been under delusion about these since times eternal. These errors are being clarified here. First, errors regarding soul and non-soul elements. The nature of the soul entity is knowing and seeing, while bodily frames made of non-soul elements have shapes. The behavior of soul element is altogether unlike that of ether, anti-ether, time, and space, though they are shapeless. This soul, not recognizing this difference, considers the behavior of body's matter to be that of the soul force. Forgetting its own intrinsic nature, the soul considers itself beautiful or ugly due to the beauty or ugliness of the physical frame, and considers the bodily progeny as part and parcel of its own being. It also feels oneness with activities like fasts and discourses that are dependent on physical frames. when, the bod- when the body is born, this being regards that as one's own birth, and when the physical frame leaves the soul, one considers it to be one's death. This is our mistake regarding the soul and non soul elements. To consider one's soul as physical and the non living entity as a living one are errors regarding the soul and non soul elements.
Okay, so let's understand this. This is one of the most fundamental uh, errors that we make regarding soul and non-soul elements. Because the body and soul are together, so it is quite obvious that people make mistakes. They consider body as their own, okay? Because they don't know about the soul. So we, because of these studies, we know that the soul is different from this body. Okay, so those who are not studying Jainism, they are not aware of this difference. If you go on the street and ask anybody, they will say, what is your weight? They will say that I am 60 kg, 70 kg, 80 kg. But that is the weight of the body. What is the weight of the soul? So nobody realized this, and everybody identifies themselves with the body. It is only in our Jain religion or some other religions also, they always differentiate between a body and a soul. So right faith, you see, first line, right faith cannot be accomplished. Right faith is samyak darshan, and any spiritual seeker, uh, his desire is to manifest a right faith, and right faith cannot be accomplished without understanding the seven fundamentals in their right perspective. That is also a condition. Understanding the seven fundamental in their right perspective. Okay. People have been under delusion, wrong belief about these since time eternal. So we have to destroy that wrong belief and have the right belief. Okay. And how long this wrong belief is going on? Since time eternal, there is no beginning. Soul is beginningless, so are the karmas. Karmas also don't have a beginning. These errors are being clarified here. Now, the first error, there are 5 points in it. I would like that you mark in your textbook. Okay. And everyone had got textbooks, those who have ordered.
We've got the Hindi one, sir, not the English one. Therefore, we've taken a PDF.
Okay. So I would suggest that you take out a printout. It's a small book, few
Yeah,
pages.
I mean print out, not PDF. I'm sorry.
Without printer facility in your home, it is okay. Otherwise, you go to cyber cafe or any of that. Xerox people also do this nowadays. So we have a printer at our home, but I don't know. My son only operates, so either I have to depend on him. So what I do, I go to the shop. It's close by only, and I get my printout from there. And the other thing is the kind of adjustments and all and page numbers and all, they do everything for us. And they also make a spiral binding. So it's all very simple. So I've got many books which are not available physically that I get print out and make a spiral binding. And what I do else is I say you print one page on one side only. So other side remains blank. And
Yes.
there some notes, important notes on that particular. So when we go to any temple to do discourses, during Das Lakshan Dharma or all, nowadays I'm not going because of Farmagam, but earlier I used to go maybe uh, since last 10 years. Okay. So then I used to have this kind of Xerox, and then I am supposed to take a particular chapter. Okay, so that a chapter I used to read in detail, and then what are the good points that come into my mind, and what are the good points that I get. That all I put in, and then I have a kind of mastery over that subject so that I can explain it very clearly, and people are also able to understand. Then I think of examples that I can put into that, and that examples also I write down there. So while I'm teaching, I have everything at a glance with me, and that makes it very easy and interesting. So you should also take a printout of these books. Why you have been given Hindi books is in spite of ordering English. The reason would be that these books are out of print, and whenever they print at a substantial quantity. And worldwide, the youngsters nowadays prefer to read on tab. And on tab also they have this, they can underline it and then they color it, those important lines. And a lot of facilities have come on tab also. So most of the youngsters nowadays prefer on soft copy only. So now people are not reluctant to buy books. Earlier the books were, very rare to get. And nowadays people prefer PDF. Even if you give them physical book, they say, no, I will manage with PDF. And they are quite comfortable, but I'm not comfortable with PDF. So I get everything a printout. And because I have to write something here and there, so it becomes easy for me to write it down. So now I have marked 5 points here. You have also to mark there, so that way you can write it very clearly, and you should write on, like, nowadays people write by putting bullet points, point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, like that. Now this whole chapter, if you see, there is no points, even 7 fundamentals also, they have never given a number to it. That this is soul is number 1, non-soul is number 2, influx number 3, and no numbers are given. And the description is also just like, on a flow, like just like an essay. But nowadays we put everything on points and it's easy to remember also. Okay. So you should write in point form when you write the concept clarity. Okay. So one point finishes and another point begins. But here you don't know where the point begins, where the second point ends, and where the third point starts. You never know. So just now we'll mark it out so you will understand. So the nature of the soul entity is knowing and seeing. So what is my nature? Jnata drashta. Only to know and see, nothing else. But still I myself believe that I am a doer. And that's where the delusion comes into the picture. And because of this delusion, our correct understanding on 7 fundamentals is not there. And that's where we make the errors. Now to remove these errors, Acharya Uma Swami has tried here to point out some of the common errors that a soul usually makes. So the nature of the soul entity is knowing and seeing, while bodily frames, means the body, made of non-soul elements, have shapes. Okay. So the behavior of soul element is altogether unlike that of ether, anti-ether, time and space, though they are shapeless. So the matter substance like body has shape. All the other substances does not have shape. They are all shapeless. Now, matter substance has these characteristics of, touch, taste, smell, then eyes, and the ear through which they hear. Through eyes, he can see the objects. Okay. So these are the 5 senses. So the one who is not this, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. The matter substance has these 4 qualities: space, touch, taste, smell, and then you can see it. Okay. So these are the 4 qualities. Those who are having these 4 qualities, they are considered to be substance with shapes. So the matter is only the substance who has got these qualities, and so matter has a shape. So body is a matter substance, so it has a shape. Now the other 5 substances, the soul, the ether means medium of motion. Anti-ether means medium of rest, and time and space are the same. Okay. So all these 4 plus the soul, these 5 substances are shapeless. Now, can you tell me why it is shapeless? Quick answer. Who knows? Who will try?
They're made up of uncountable particles, Pradesh.
No. Very simple. The one who has shape must have touch, these qualities: touch, taste, smell, and you can see it, right? Those are matter particles. Okay. So this soul, ether, anti-ether, time and space, you cannot see them through your eyes. Okay. You cannot touch them. Okay. You cannot taste them. Spars, ras, gandh, you cannot smell them. Gandh and varna that you can see them. Okay. So those who have these qualities are only matter substance and they have shapes. So anything and everything apart from matter is all shapeless. Okay. So the five substances, soul, ether, anti-ether, time and space are shapeless. Now these five substances are different, each different to each other. So the behavior of soul element is altogether unlike that of, so soul's behavior is different from ether, anti-ether, ether, anti-ether, time and space.
So what are the Hindi names?
Hindi is Dharmastikai, Adharmastikai, Akash and Kal. Okay. So we have six substances: Jeev, Pudgal, Dharm, Adharm, Akash, Kal. Pudgar is matter, Jeev is soul, and then this is Dharmastika is ether or medium of motion. Adharmastika is anti-ether or medium of rest. And then Akash is space and Kal is time. Okay. So all these are shapeless because they don't have these qualities. Okay. हिंदी में we call it as अमूर्तिक. उद्गल मूर्तिक है, बाकी पांच द्रव्य अमूर्तिक है. क्यों अमूर्तिक है? क्योंकि उसमें स्पर्श, रस, गंध, वर्ण ये चारों ही नहीं है. This soul, not recognizing this difference, considers the behavior of bodies matter, bracket में matter दिया है, to be that of soul force. Okay. So it is not only body, bodies, etc. Okay. So here now it is being discussed is bodies. Okay. So bodies and then other matter substances. The soul on not recognizing the difference between the matter or the body and the soul. Okay. Considers the behaviors of bodies matter to be that of the soul force. So this is the first error. Okay. Point number one. This is the point number one. That soul considers the behavior of bodies as that of his own. This is point number one. Point number one, error. Now second error. Forgetting its own intrinsic nature. What is this intrinsic nature? First line, the nature of the soul entity is knowing and seeing. So knowing is the intrinsic nature of the soul. So forgetting its own intrinsic nature, the soul considers itself beautiful or ugly. Okay. So when you cannot see the soul, how you will mark it as beautiful or ugly? So the soul considers itself to be beautiful or ugly due to the beauty or ugliness of the physical frame. That means the body. Okay. Someone is asking, Himali is asking a question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, in the earlier paragraph, you explained about dharmastika and all of that. So, can I get an example of uh, medium of motion and medium of rest?
Now a fish is there in a pond. Okay. So if you take out that fish and put it on land, plain land, what will happen?
So, it'll first wriggle because it'll want to go back into water, and then it'll.
If You have taken it out. Now he or she cannot go back into the pond. So
Yes.
that it will die,
Yes, sir.
right? So if you put it in the back in the pond, it will swim, it will take his breathing and all.
Mm.
The medium of motion would be water. Okay. So if the fish wants to go from one place to another place, water acts as a medium. Similarly, a soul or a matter, if they want to go from one place to another place, then they can go just because there is a medium of motion.
Body is the medium.
Huh? Body, not
Body.
body. Thermastika, ether. Ether is the medium of motion. It is called medium of motion. Now,
Okay.
the medium of rest would not have been there, anti-ether would not have been there, then people will keep on traveling only. They cannot stop. But because medium of rest is there, they can stop anywhere as they want. So you understand about ether and anti-ether. Now, coming on to the space. Now, if the space substance would not have been there, then where would all the substances live? So space is providing the space for these substances to live. All the five substances apart from space lives in space only. Space, akash dravya, the sky.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, if the time substance would not have been there, then everything would be static. But because of time substance, everything is manifesting every moment. Okay. Everything is changing every moment. Okay. So these four substances, this we were very clear when we studied 6 substances. Okay. So you should keep revising whatever you have studied. Otherwise, if you forget that, then these are all very connected things. So
Yes, sir.
you must keep revising and uh, remembering.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So forgetting its own intrinsic nature, the soul considered itself beautiful or ugly due to the body. Body is beautiful, body is ugly, but soul consider itself to be beautiful and ugly, and that is the second error. Third error, and considers. Who considers? The soul. The soul considers the bodily progeny. What is this progeny? Progeny is your kids, your wife, your parents, all the relations that are pertaining to this body. Okay. And considers the bodily progeny as part and parcel of its own being. So your son, your kids are different from you. Okay. Your body is different from you. Then how can this kids, wife, spouse, parents, your house, your office could be you? Okay. But from time immortal, the soul has this belief that my son is, I am my son, my wife is mine, something mera, mine. But nothing is yours. Okay. So this third error is that soul considers this bodily progeny as part and parcel of its own being. Fourth error, it also feels oneness. Means soul also feels oneness with activities like fasts and discourses that are dependent on physical frames. Now, fasting means not eating anything the whole day. Okay. So who is eating? The body is eating. Okay. So we put foods in our body and then we feel that, oh, I have eaten this. And when we don't eat, you you feel that you have observed a fast, but the whole activity is of body only, where the soul comes in there. Okay, so the soul has this belief that he is the doer of these activities like fast and the discourses. Now, these discourses, if I consider that I am doing these discourses, then I am making an error, because this discourses is again a matter substance. The sound that you are hearing is a matter substance, bhasha vargana. Okay, so uh, it's quite different from the soul. Soul is not a doer of this uh, talk, you know. So this discourse is happening on its own, you know. So it is like that. But the soul feels that he is only doing the discourse. So these is the error number 4. Now error number 5. When the body is born, this being means the soul regards as that as one's own birth. So when the body is born, actually the soul is coming into the body. It remains there in the womb for 9 months, and then it takes a birth. So we feel that soul has taken a birth, but soul never takes birth or he never dies. Okay, it keeps on changing the bodies. So now it is in this human form, depending on its deeds, the kind of manifestation that he has done, he will get another birth. Okay, from there he will take another birth. So the soul is there since eternal, and it has been changing bodies from time eternal. Okay, so the 5th era is when the body is born, this being regards that as one's own birth, and when the physical frame leaves the soul. Okay, so physical frame means the body. When the body leaves the soul, one considers it to be one's death. So again there is a error. When the body is born, this being regards that as one's own birth, and when the physical frame leaves the soul. So it is the other way. The soul leaves the body. Okay, body remains there. The soul leaves the body. One considers it to be one's own death. Okay, so this is the 5th error. This is our mistake regarding the soul and non-soul elements. So why they have written both together? They could have written errors regarding soul, errors regarding non-soul, because the errors regarding soul is the same as the error regarding non-soul. Okay, so both are connected, so they have presented it here jointly. But in some other scriptures like Moksha Marg Prakasak, they have written differently, errors regarding soul and errors regarding non-soul. So how that could be different? There is no difference. Only thing is that when they start the talk, they start it from the perspective of soul. And when they write errors regarding non-soul elements, they write with the perspective of non-soul. That is the difference. But the actual content is same in both the cases, because when you make an error regarding soul, there is a corresponding error regarding the non-soul. Example. Now, if you believe the body to be yours, okay, so that means you consider body as the soul. So what then you consider the soul as? So then you consider the soul as the body. Okay. So it is not one error, both errors happening simultaneously. But when we explain, when we talk, we can talk from a single perspective at a time. So when I talk from the soul's perspective, it is called the errors regarding soul. And when I talk from the perspective of non-soul elements, we regard as errors of non-soul elements. Understood, everyone? This is one of the important differences. Then all the other are very small one, but still those are also very deep as we study along. you will realize that these errors are also very important. Because if there is one error remaining, you will not manifest right belief. For right belief, you have to understand all the 7 fundamentals. You cannot leave any one of it. Okay. Now we will study the next one, errors regarding the influx element. Roshni ji, you read it.
Yes. Errors regarding the influx element. By their very nature, unnatural tendencies are instrumental to unhappiness. But this being indulges in them and considers himself to be happy. He thinks that the good deeds lead to happiness and attract material merit, leading to heavenly joys. He does not, however, consider that that which leads to bondage cannot fetch happiness. In the first chapter of Chadala, it has been made specific that there is no happiness in the heavens. When there is no joy in the world, how can we expect to get it? The good and bad activities and tendencies clearly cause bondage. To regard them desirable is the error regarding influx element.
By their very nature, unnatural tendencies. So now what is this unnatural tendencies? It is the attachment, the aversion,
Delusion.
and the delusion. Okay. Delusion, attachment, and aversions, these are unnatural tendencies. And these are instrumental to unhappiness. Okay. So first you should get rid of what? Which one you will get rid of first?
Delusions.
Yes, delusion, right? First you get rid of delusions. So then when the delusion goes, there will be attachment and aversions, but the degree will be different. Okay. So the first one for the first job would be to get rid of delusion. And how do we get rid of delusion? In other words, how do we manifest right belief, right faith?
Swadhyay.
Huh?
Through Swadhyay.
By knowing the correct nature of 7
So,
fundamentals. Okay. So delusion is directly connected to the 7 fundamentals. You understand these 7 fundamentals correctly, your delusions will go away. So everyone should feel happy and enthusiastic that my path of happiness is very near, because I will understand the 7 fundamentals very clearly and my delusion will go away. Okay. So by their very nature, unnatural tendencies are instrumental. Instrumental means nimit, instrumental means nimit, are instrumental to unhappiness. But this being, means this soul, indulges in them, involves in them, and considers himself to be happy. Okay. He thinks that good deeds leads to happiness and attracts material merit. Material merit means auspicious karma. Okay. He thinks that good deeds leads to happiness and attract material merit, leading to heavenly joys. He does not, however, consider that that which leads to bondage cannot fetch happiness. So this merit will bind karmas, new karmas. Of course, auspicious karma. And if you indulge in, if you get attracted to demerits, okay, then it will bind inauspicious karma, but it will bind you. Okay. So the one which binds you, how can it lead to happiness? आपका संसार तो बढ़ रहा है, तो आप कैसे उससे सुखी हो सकते हैं? Okay. So it cannot lead to happiness. The one which binds you cannot lead to happiness. So because of this material influx, okay, you are binding new karmas, and because of that, you cannot manifest happiness. Now there is a reference given from Chedala here. In this first chapter of Chedala, it has been made specific that there is no happiness in the heavens. In fact, in the first chapter, the author Pandit Daulat Ramji first proved that there is no happiness in any of the four stages of existence, whether it is heaven, whether it is hell, whether it is human state or subhuman state. Subhuman state includes plant and animal kingdom. Okay, Tiryanj Gati. So in Chedala, in the first dal, first they have proved that there is no happiness in any of the state of existence. And then they concluded, so you must get rid of all these state of existence and attain liberation. Okay. Why is the need of liberation? Because there is no happiness in any of the state of existence. And there they proved that in heaven also there are different types of miseries. Okay. It is not that there is only happiness over there. Okay. People do get attracted through this heavenly joys, but these are all temporary kind of nature, and these are not true happiness. Okay. There are also some miseries over there, and they have explained that and proved that it is not worth staying in any of the state of existence. Even human existence, there are lot of miseries here also. We get pain at every now and then, you know. So the best is we get rid of all the karmas and get liberated. So that is a permanent place where we will be experiencing eternal happiness every moment. No disturbance. Okay. So it is like this. When there is no joy in the world means all the four state of existence. So you get rid of this world. You go to liberation. How can we expect to get it? The good and bad activities and tendencies clearly cause bondage. To regard them desirable is the error regarding influx element. Okay, what is the error? To regard them desirable. When we desire something, then we feel that it is good. But there is no good and bad activities and tendencies because everyone is causing a bondage. So how then we can consider them as desirable? To regard them desirable is the error regarding influx element. Now the next one. Errors regarding bondage element. Who will read? Madhuji, you read. You're there?
Yes, yes, sir.
Earlier also I called your name, but you were not there at that.
Actually, what had happened, sir, my phone itself was in silent. It had become somehow. And I was wondering why you're not starting the class. But when I saw you were lip sync, so I understood the class is on and I saw it is in silent.
Again, it's an error, right?
Yes,
Belief system. So we will correct the errors in the belief system and
yes,
then happy.
yes, sir. Now, errors regarding bondage element. On the fluctuation of good and bad karma, the soul indulges in all sorts of attachments. Just a moment. Sorry. On fluctuation of good and bad karmas, the soul indulges in all sorts of attachments and aversions, respectively. Sensual pleasures are the result of good karmas, and these are full of uneasiness, causing unhappiness only. Both are injurious, being reasons of worldly continuance, while complete liberation is achieved only when the body are completely annihilated.
Both.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'll read it again, sir. Both are injurious, being reasons of worldly continuance, while complete liberation is achieved only when both are completely annihilated. The error regarding bondage is that he does not understand this fact.
So influx are of two types. One is the psychic influx and one is the material influx. Okay. So the soul indulges in the psychic influx like attachments and aversions. Okay. And delusion. So and then he binds karma, and then the fruition of these good and bad karmas, when it comes into fruition, the soul indulges in all sorts of attachments and aversions respectively. So because of good deeds and good karmas, the soul indulges in the soul manifests attachments to that. Okay. And in the bad karmas, okay, he manifests aversions. Okay. Rag dvesh. So these sensual pleasures are the result of good karmas. So you get good things in life when you have good karmas, and these are full of uneasiness causing unhappiness only. So these good karmas, rise of good karmas, you get all the good things in life, but they are not a cause of happiness to you. So sensual pleasures are the result of good karmas, and these are full of uneasiness causing unhappiness only. Both are injurious. Both are injurious means the good karmas and bad karmas, the auspicious karmas and inauspicious karmas, the merit karmas and demerit karmas. Both are injurious, being reasons of worldly continuance. You are binding new karmas, so you are continuing the worldly existence. While complete liberation is achieved only when both are completely destroyed or annihilated. Okay. So we need to destroy both. So the error regarding bondage is that he does not understand this fact. Even the auspicious karma also binds. Even the auspicious manifestation also binds. But he considers auspicious to be good and inauspicious to be bad. And that is where the error regarding bondage. Both are binding. So how can the auspicious could be good? Okay. So this is the basic error of regarding the bondage element. Now coming to the next, errors regarding stoppage. Who is there next? Malti ji, you read. Then Shefali ji, and then Urja. So Malti ji is not able to unmute. So next, Shefali ji, you read. Errors regarding stoppage.
Yeah. Errors regarding.
No, Malti ji has come. Malti ji is
Okay.
able.
Let her read. I'll do next.
So Malti ji, you.
Yeah, it's errors regarding bondage elements. On fruition of good and bad karma, the soul indulges in all sorts of attachments and aversions respectively.
Malti ji, that is over. Errors regarding stoppage you have to read.
Yeah, sorry, sir. The stoppage of influx takes place only with soul consciousness and detachment, and those alone make the soul happy. He considers them to be painful, meaning thereby that he regards the achievement of right knowledge and detachment as painful. He does not realize that these are blissful states of our being and not causing any discomfort. To regard them as causing discomfort is the error. To regard them as causing discomfort is the error regarding stoppage. Error regarding Shall I go to the next one?
No.
So it's
Yeah. So errors regarding stoppage. Stoppage is somewhere. Okay. So the
yeah.
discussion that were going on about attachments and aversions and delusions. Now stopping of that. Now stopping of influx can only takes place uh, when you take shelter in your soul. Okay. So taking shelter in soul is called, here it is written as soul consciousness, but actually it is self-knowledge, Atma Gyan. Okay. Stoppage of influx takes place only with when you take shelter in your soul, and detachment is Vairagya. Okay. So Atma Gyan or Vairagya. Detachment is Vairagya. So detachment means manifesting passionlessness. Okay, manifesting passionlessness. So when you uh, manifest the right knowledge or the self-knowledge and detachment, Baltiji, you mute yourself. There is voice coming from the background. Okay. So stoppage of influx takes place only with soul consciousness and detachment, and those alone make the soul happy. Okay. So when you take shelter in your soul, the stoppage of influx takes place. संवर क्या जन्म होता है जब आत्मा का आश्रय किया जाता है. Okay. So our active consciousness was engaged in outer five sensory objects. Now, to transform that active consciousness and bring that active consciousness towards your soul, and when it comes to our soul, it dilutes with the soul, and the stage of self-realization manifest. And that is where the stoppage of influx takes place somewhere. He considers them to be painful. So it's a great feeling of joy, when you take shelter in your soul, you experience happiness. But he considers them to be painful, meaning thereby that he regards the achievement of right knowledge and detachment as painful. Okay. He does not realize that these are blissful states of our being and not causing any discomfort. Okay. So you must be wondering that why he is considering taking the shelter in his soul as painful, right? Now, where this understanding is coming from, you know, because under the psychic stoppage of influx, okay, it is called bhav samvar. And then there is a material stoppage of influx called dravya samvar. So, in Tattvat Sutra and other scriptures, there are, they have mentioned some of the names of the body activities like, Samiti, Gupti, Anupreksha, called the 12 reflections, then 10 types of religion, thus dharma, then there are 22 inflictions, 22 parisha, and then there is 5 types of charitra. All these are instrumental in manifesting stoppage of influx. Now, taking vows and doing samiti and gupti and this 12 reflections and das dharma, these are this taking oath of samiti and gupti, that is painful. Okay. And so this is the error, that what was actually for our happiness, he considers them to be painful because he does not understand the 7 fundamentals clearly. And because of that, he considers that this bodily activity will bring happiness. And because of that, these bodily activities are, he considers them to be painful. Okay. But it is not the bodily activity that is going to bring happiness. It is the refugee that you have taken in your soul, the shelter that you have taken in your soul, that has manifested the stoppage of influx. Okay. So this is the error, that what was a source of happiness, the ignorant soul considers themselves to be a source of pain. Okay. And that is the error regarding stoppage. Okay. To regard them as causing discomfort is the error regarding stoppage. So that was the error. Now, errors regarding gradual dissociation, or we can also call errors regarding dissociation of bondage. Okay. So this is called nirjara. So I am reading it now. No. Who was supposed to read? Shefali. Yeah, you read it.
I was supposed to read.
Okay. Okay.
Errors regarding complete liberation.
No, errors regarding gradual dissociation.
Sorry. Errors regarding gradual dissociation.
Right.
Absence of desires in dissociation or partial shedding, and that brings happiness. Not knowing this and forgetting one's own powers of the soul, when one considers oneself to be happy in the satisfaction of his desires and does not consider that their absence is real happiness, one commits error regarding shedding of the bondage partially.
So errors regarding shedding of the bondage partially. Okay, what is that error? That absence of desires. है ना? So desire is the cause of unhappiness. Okay, and absence of desire is dissociation or partial shedding, and that brings happiness. So nirjara. So इच्छा निरोधो तप. इच्छा का निरोध करना. इच्छा मतलब desire. Okay. So if you conquer the desire, then it is called nirjara. So this is the correct understanding. Okay. So you have to just get rid of the desires. But not knowing this and forgetting one's own powers of the soul, when one considers himself oneself to be happy in the satisfaction of his desires. Now, satisfaction of these desires means by fulfilling the desire, he feels satisfied. That is the error. So we were supposed to destroy the desire, and instead of that, he considers that if I fulfill my desire, I will be happy. And that is the error. Okay. So absence of desire is dissociation or partial shedding, and that brings happiness. Not knowing this and forgetting one's own power of the soul, when one considers oneself to be happy in the satisfaction of his desire, इच्छा पूर्ति होके सुखी मानता है. Okay. Satisfaction of his desires means satisfaction of his fulfillment of desire, and does not consider that their absence is real happiness. That their absence means the absence of the desire itself is real happiness. One commits error regarding shedding of the bondage partially. Okay. So by taking shelter in our soul and by concentrating on the self, we can conquer these desires. What do you mean by conquering of desire? Can anyone tell me a good answer? How do you conquer a desire?
By desirelessness.
By
Desirelessness.
But how that desirelessness will happen?
By detachment, sir.
Detachment, yes.
Anyone else? So the methodology is that the acharyas has given to us is that you manifest pure sentiment. And when you manifest pure sentiment, the desire will not rise only. And that is the way of conquering desire. Okay. So you manifest purity, and that purity can only be manifested by taking shelter on the soul. Okay. So the stoppage of influx was taking shelter in the soul and manifesting stoppage of influx. And now with that manifesting of the purity, now you need to increase that purity. So increase of that purity is the gradual dissociation of bondage. Okay. So as you practice descriptive knowledge, you uh, you increase the frequency of descriptive knowledge, and by taking shelter in the soul time and again and concentrating on the self, you can dissociate the bondage, okay, partially, okay. And this is the, and what the error that the soul makes is, by fulfilling the desire, he feels that I will get rid of the desire. But there is a problem with desire. You know what is the problem with desire? That one desire gets fulfilled, another desire comes up. Now, you were desiring that, let me complete my schooling. So you completed the schooling. Now you have a desire to get admission in a good college. Okay. So you got the admission in a college. Then you have a desire to excel in exam. Now you have excelled in exam. Now you want a job in a good company. So your desire keeps on coming. It is not that one desire you fulfilled and that is the end. You are satisfied. No, you are never satisfied. You were having no money. So you desire to become a crorepati. Okay. So then you saved 1 crore. You earned and you saved 1 crore. So now you must be satisfied, no? No, now you want 10 crores. Okay, then you got 10 crores. So you must be satisfied. Okay, no, now I want 100 crores. Okay, you got 100 crores. So you must be satisfied. Okay, no, now I want 1000 crores. Okay, you got 1000 crores. Okay, no, I want to become number one. You become number one. Okay, still you are not satisfied. Why? Because you want to maintain that. I should not become number two. So desire keeps on coming, coming, coming. There is no end to desire. Okay. So that is the first problem with desire. What is the second problem, with desire? That you cannot fulfill desire. Why? Because all the materials available in this universe, you collect it, and that total collection is only a small particle in the ocean of desire. So the desire are many and the particles are very little. So who will get what share of desire, what share of material? Okay. So it can never be satisfied. In Hindi, it is called इच्छा रूपी गड्ढा इतना बड़ा है कि उसमें 3 लोग की सारी संपत्तियां अगर इकट्ठी कर जाए तो वो सिर्फ अणु समान है. Only a small particle in that ocean of desire. Okay. So this is the second cause, that the desire cannot be fulfilled, because there is no material available to fulfill your desire. Not only your desire, but each of the soul that is there in the universe, you count their desire, you total their desire, and you total what is available. So the ratio is 100:1. So now who will get what? Okay. So it cannot be completely fulfilled. The third problem with the desire is when the desire is there, the material is not there. And when you get the material, the desire has gone. I'll give you an example that you wanted to buy a mobile phone, new mobile phone. Okay. So you research which are having the best features depending on your budget, and you also saw the review report, what the people are saying about the quality of this mobile and all, and then you arrive at a choice that I want to buy Samsung such and such, I want to buy Apple such and such, I want to buy, what is that famous brand, I not remembering.
OnePlus.
OnePlus, yeah, OnePlus.
OnePlus.
So OnePlus and all, right? So you identify a model that I want to get this model, okay? So then you ordered online, and the next day the delivery came through Amazon, okay? Now the delivery has come, it is lying there parcel, but you are busy in some other thing. And that is, you consider it's more important. So that material has come, but the desire has gone. So you are not ready to open that and use that mobile. So maybe it may take 2-3 days. You were busy in some work, so that mobile was still lying there because the desire has gone. If the same level of desire would have been there, you would have immediately opened the box, took out that mobile and put your SIM in that mobile, and you uh, formatted the old model and transfer the data into the new mobile, and you start using the new mobile. But that doesn't happen. Similarly, you want to buy a new car, and then you also do some research on that, which one is a good model and what is my budget and how that fits into my budget and all. And then you arrive at a decision that, oh, I will buy this Mercedes Benz, this particular model. And then you go to the showroom and you pay that money, okay? And the showroom guy says that it will take 3 days. There are some process that the company, it will come from the company, and then it will pass through RTO. Some regulations are there. And after 3 days, you get a call that your car has arrived. You can come and collect. But now you are busy with some other thing. You are occupied. And say, okay, बाद में लेके आएंगे. So you see, everything you see, there is never a matching of time of desire and the object. Okay. There is always a mismatch between the time you desire and the time you actually get the product. Okay. So all the learned souls, the soul who has wisdom has opened up, they never desire anything. Because what difference does it make? I may desire that I want to become Prime Minister of India, but will I become? No. So all the desires are futile, no use. So all the learned soul never desires anything. They accept whatever it comes, They just balance it out. जो आएगा उसी में मस्त रहेंगे. No desire. ये होना ही चाहिए, ये ऐसे ही होना चाहिए. This fellow should behave like this. My kid should come first in the class. क्या? That song? मेरा बेटा बड़ा नाम करेगा. Some song is like that, no? Some film is. क्या? मेरा बेटा
Yes, sir.
नाम करेगा.
पापा कहते हैं.
Yeah,
पापा कहते हैं बेटा,
Papa कहते हैं. Correct.
but the बेटा is
Fine.
वो नाम नहीं करेगा. Then you become a दुखी. So the best thing is you understand the 7 fundamentals, become a learned one from an ignorant one, and the desire does not rise because there is no way that you desire and you will get that. You get according to your auspicious karma. Okay. Your desire could be fulfilled only when you have an auspicious karma. Okay. And again, if one desire is fulfilled, you have another desire. Another desire is fulfilled, then there is a third desire, and it goes on. First point. The second point, that is desires can never be fulfilled because all the material that is available in this universe, you put it at one place, and you put all the desires of all the human being, or all the not only human being, the other state of existence also, all put together. The level of desire is like an ocean, and all the material that is available is just a 1% of that. So it can never be fulfilled. Second. And the third one is, there is a time gap. The desire has risen now, but you don't get the material now. And when you get the material, the desire has gone. So there is a mismatch between desire and the availability of that particular product. Okay. So because of these three reasons, the desires cannot be fulfilled. And this guy believes that fulfilling of desire is the process by which I will get partial
Happiness.
So,
bondage.
so just a query, like we are allowed to have one desire. आत्मा को परमात्मा बनाना चाहते हैं हम. That is also a desire.
That is desire at one level, but the desire for sensual pleasures is also a desire. So first we get rid of those desires, and then we will get this desire also. Because the moment you make a decision that you are Paramatma itself, so where is the desire of becoming a Paramatma? Once
Right.
you know that your nature is one, you are Paramatma. आत्मा ही परमात्मा है, होना नहीं है. You are now only you are only Paramatma. So once you have a correct decision, I'm talking about decision, not only knowing. You know many things, but you don't arrive at a decision. So by knowing worth, uh, what is worth of knowing, what is worth denouncing, and what is worth adapting. By coming at that conclusion, you will realize that what is to be done. Okay. So the desire for liberation is again a desire, but it goes away when your right belief manifest. जब आपको right belief हो जाएगा, means that you consider yourself to be a soul element. You consider yourself to be different from body. Okay. You consider yourself to be only a knower and seer. That's where the things settle. By making a decision of yourself that I am the soul, my function is only to know and see, nothing beyond that. Then you don't become a doer. Then you don't do oneness with anything. Then you don't do mindness with anything. And then you don't desire to enjoy anything. Okay. So this is how the desire for becoming a Paramatma will also go away the moment you manifest right belief. Okay. So this is like that. Now,
Thank you.
the last error. Errors regarding complete liberation. Urja, you read this one.
Yeah. Errors regarding complete liberation. In liberation lies real happiness without any discomforture. We do not understand this and consider pleasure seeking to be a happy state. We also think that happiness of the liberated soul must also be the same kind as sensual joys. This is our error regarding complete liberation. As long as we do not remove these errors regarding the seven fundamentals, we cannot be said to be treading on the path of liberation.
So the last paragraph I'm reading first. As long as we do not remove these errors. So these errors we have to remove. Okay. Regarding seven fundamentals, we cannot be said to be treading on the path of liberation. So you don't enter the path of liberation only unless and until you know the seven fundamentals clearly. Okay. Now coming on to the last, errors regarding complete liberation. Okay. What is the error? He considers the quality of the sensual pleasure, The same quality he will have in liberation. Okay. In liberation lies real happiness without any discomfiture. We do not understand this and consider pleasure seeking to be a happy state. Okay. So all those sensual pleasures, he considers himself to be by enjoying these sensual pleasures, he considers himself to be happy. And he considers that in liberation also, same quality of happiness will be there. So if I'm getting happiness, that happiness here, then why should I desire for liberation? Okay. We do not understand this and consider pleasure seeking to be a happy state. We also think that the happiness of the liberated soul must also be the same kind as sensual joys. So this is the error. These sensual joys are not the actual eternal joy, you know. It is not the eternal bliss. It is with anxiety. And the eternal bliss is without anxiety. Okay. सो ये सुख कैसा है? पांच इंद्रियों का सुख आकुलता सहित है। और अतीन्द्रिय आनंद, एटर्नल ब्लिस, कैसा सुख है? विदाउट आकुलता, निराकुलता। ओके, विदाउट एंजाइटी। This is our error regarding complete liberation. So he considers the quality of the sensual pleasures and the quality of liberation of same type. But that is the error. The quality of the sensual pleasures are with anxiety. It is not the real pleasure. It is not the real happiness. Real happiness manifests through the soul and it is the eternal bliss. Okay. It never gets destroyed. These sensual pleasures get destroyed. You know, now you are watching a movie, the electricity goes and your TV stops and you have an antarai. Okay. So your program of sensual pleasure has been stopped. Okay. You are watching a movie and a call comes and you have a bad news. You switch off the TV. You will not see the TV. So these sensual pleasures are with interruptions. But the eternal pleasures, see Parmeshti, there is no disturbance in between. You are always enjoying the eternal bliss, you know. So these are like that. So there is a difference between a sensual pleasure and a eternal pleasure or bliss. Okay. Eternal bliss is coming directly from the soul, and the sensual pleasures are the coming from the five sensory objects. Okay. The sensual pleasure is also a pleasure coming from the soul itself, but this soul, because of ignorance, believes that this happiness is coming from those objects. Okay. So these are some of the errors that a soul makes regarding the seven fundamentals. This is one type of error. Now there are other types of errors that we will study later on when we go deep into this. Okay. For now, this is only sufficient. Okay. So this is also a very important chapter regarding the errors of the seven fundamentals. And I would recommend you to include in your concept clarity when you write these errors also. So when you are writing about soul and non-soul, you also mention that these are the errors that a soul generally makes. And our job is to understand correctly and remove these errors. Okay. So when you are writing about influx of element, you also write about the errors regarding the influx of element. Okay. So then it will be a comprehensive essay on seven fundamentals. You have to write the nature of seven fundamentals, the definition of seven fundamentals, then the divisions and subdivisions of seven fundamentals, and then you have to write what is worth knowing, Heg ne upade, and then you have to write the errors also. So all these all put together, you will have a comprehensive knowledge. Still, there are something to be desired, but I'm not confusing right now. there are some other kinds of errors that we'll study in Tattva Gyan, I think, in the next sem only. Okay. And of course, we will have a comprehensive discussion on this in the 9th or 10th sem when we read Moksh Marg Prakashak, 9th chapter. 9th chapter is having a very, very detailed study of the 7 fundamentals. So if anyone wants to go deep into this, you read Moksh Marg Prakashak, 9th chapter. Okay. So this was taken from Svedala. Then the Tattva 1 is taken from Moksh Marg Prakashak. So it will go more deeper in that 7 fundamentals over there. So the nature of errors will change in that, whatever is given here will not be repeated there. There will be errors only, but from a different perspective. Now, what is that perspective? That I will tell you then and there only, not now. Okay. So this ends our chapter 3. That's the first chapter in Vitrag Vigyan 2. Next week, we will study 3 chapters simultaneously. Why? Because all three are common. Now you see the index, okay? Take out the index, first page. Yeah, no, this next one. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one. You see the content. The chapter first, homage to the gods, scriptures, and monks. Chapter 2, the gods, the scriptures, and the monk. Chapter 10, adoration of the god, the scripture, and the monk. All are overlapping, सब एक ही बात है तीनों में. All three contains the same content, but from different descriptions. So we will read this, we will study these 3 chapters simultaneously. Simultaneously means in the same class next week. Okay. So once I make you understand, I will first take the chapter 2, the God, the scriptures, and the monk. Then I will move on to the chapter 10, adoration of the God, the scriptures, and the monk. And then we'll come to the homage. So by the time we come to the homage, everything will be clear and I don't have to make you understand that puja, that puja is written by Yugal Kisorji Yugal from Kota, the great scholar, it's a puja, Dev Guru Shastra ki puja. It's a very good one. So if you find time and you must study these 3 chapters and come, so you will understand better. Otherwise, I will make you understand all the 3. No problem. Okay. So this is the homework for the next week. And plus you have got homework about you have to write concept clarity paper 1 on 7 fundamentals. Okay. So did I give a deadline for that last week?
So 1 minute. So, what is the order? First, we have to read the God, the scriptures, and the monk.
First we'll
and then
chapter 2,
please tell.
then chapter 1.
Hello.
Yeah.
I could not hear it. What is it? Please, can you repeat it?
Yeah. So first we will do chapter 2. Then
Chapter 2.
yeah. Then we will do chapter 10. And
Okay.
then we will do chapter 1.
Okay. Thank you.
All in one day. Next class,
Okay.
2 hours will complete all chapters. So I will explain you the second one. 10th one you will automatically understand, and the first one also you will automatically understand because it's the same thing. Guma guma ke wahi baat hai, But we'll see all the 3. Okay. Anything else?
Saying about the deadline for concept clarity.
So did I give a deadline last week? Because some people have already started writing it.
I think it was April 21st.
April what?
21st, I remember.
So you confirm it and post it in the group, okay? Or you tell it to Urja, okay? What is the last date? come across.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
anyway, you have to repeat
Okay.
the last week's class. Okay, 7 fundamentals is very important, and there is I have seen that you are not very clear about it. So you should study the last class also and today's class also, and then you start writing concept clarity 1. So I might have given a deadline, but I'll revise that deadline and you take a deadline from today itself, 21 days from now. So today is 30th, right?
Yes, sir.
So 30th March is today. So the deadline would be 21 days from here. So tomorrow is 31st. So then it will be 19th of April. Okay. Now it is final. You forget the last weeks, but now you take a deadline. Concept clarity 1, what you have to write? The 7 fundamentals, the what is worth knowing, renouncing, and adapting. The errors of 7 fundamentals, all these 3 put together, and anything extra, you can also make a chart. Make it as creative as you can, because this, when next time you want to revise about 7 fundamentals, you can see that notes and just, you will have all the knowledge at a glance. Okay. So these notes are being written for yourself only. And this is something that you are going to come across every now and then throughout your life. And so I would suggest that you put in right now hard effort. You work hard now and understand it once and for all. Okay. So all the best. So you put the deadline and the topic for concept clarity 1 in the group. Urja, you will be able to do it. Last date would be 19th April. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. So it's all. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है। उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है। उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है। 9 बार नौकार मंत्र गिनेंगे। जय जिनेन्द्र।